Hi to Radioheads, you're listening to Elman. You're actually watching me here. I'm here with clearly talented author Paul A. Destefano. So you're an author, you created this book. Why and how did you create this book? It looks super interesting.
I'm coming from the game design world, writing for games, and I decided I wanted to strike out on my own and do some stuff under my own name, so I went to a horror, humor, romance book with a more serious message behind it.
And the message is?
The message is, in the book, we're talking about possessed people, and they are the new target of bigotry. So they're a stand-in for any underrepresented or hurt and targeted group in society, and the lead characters are immigrants. There's an autistic girl is our female romantic lead. Her best friend is a young black girl, and one of their friends is a gay Asian man, and each one has to put up with their own problems with society, and the book frames it as if it's because they're possessed, but we all know it's more than that.
So wait a second, so they're the targets of bigotry, so you're saying that people who are possessed are being knocked as if there's some minority, lower group of people?
It's almost like the lead couple meets in a support group for the possessed, and it's being treated as if they are drug addicts.
Oh my God.
Some of them have chosen to be possessed, and that makes them outcasts in society, and it's how do they deal with not only the fact that they have a demon in their head, and sometimes they turn into monsters, but the fact that a new government agency is formed to control them. And what's that like to be, I can't keep a job because I'm possessed?
Right. Okay, so Mark knows this. Mark's listening. He's the main show coordinator. And we've been talking for almost 2 years about how almost every interview or show we do, whatever the topic is, within 2 days, max a week, that's the theme of my life on the show. And of course you could just say I'm narcissistic and everything's about me, but I actually wrote an outline for a short film, which I've never done because I don't really have interest in, and it's all about possession. And
that's great.
It's based on someone I know being possessed. And because I actually think this person might be possessed, and I started believing in the idea that possession really, I think, is real. As of about a week ago,
wow.
I spent about 3 hours from 3 in the morning. I woke up until 6, writing about evil and possession and how I think this person is possessed. And I actually made a case, and I've been treating this person that I know as if he's a loser drug addict. I even use those words. Because I actually think he might be possessed. And interestingly, after I wrote this, he told me he was seeing black clouds following him. And I know a lot of psychics and people that are, who do exorcisms. That's what they see around people who are possessed or they have demons. They'll actually see black clouds around them. So this synchronicity, the premise, back to your book, it's a support group for people who are possessed, who are treated like they're losers by people like me who think they're possessed. And that's the theme of your book.
Yes, and spoiler alert, demons in my book aren't always evil. They're just different, and we see the people and we call them evil because they're different. It's about accepting different. Some of them are really evil, but there are some who are just different, and we always view, like I work a lot with autistic children, and they are viewed as non-human in today's society.
True.
And I said that's just absurd, that's wrong. And so many marginalized groups are treated as if they're not human. So I pushed it far enough to say, okay, they're really not human.
Right.
Now how does society react to them?
Okay, so now, do you believe that evil exists?
That's a humongous question, which would be a podcast in itself.
Yes, it would.
My answer is going to be no, because I believe most human morals are kind of constructed. And just because you and I think something's evil doesn't mean someone else from another culture does, which is why the demons aren't necessarily, in my book, aren't necessarily evil. They just have a different view of what's acceptable. They live thousands of years. They don't think of anything of killing a human just for fun. It doesn't matter to them. It's like us stepping on an ant. But then you get humans who won't step on ants.
Now, do you believe that possession or demons or dark energies are real? Or do you think it's totally fictional?
As actual sentient evil inside somebody? No. But I do believe that people can have conditions where the only way to say what it is would be possession. And in that case, if it really is possibly a physical problem within them or a mental and maybe spiritual problem, then an actual exorcism would work. But I don't believe there is actually a creature that exists outside. For my book, yeah, sure, I hope you believe it too.
Right.
But I don't believe there's actually a thing that possessed somebody. But you could be possessed.
Right. So I don't know, and I'll just say what I'm told. I have countless stories, and one thing is that 3 people said that there was something in my house, in my basement, and 2 people pointed to the exact same spot in my basement and said where it was, and one person said it was cackling and it was never human, and this person who's not, was just saw my home on a video, said that there was a weird smell and described the smell in my basement. So some people think that my home might be full of some scary stuff.
It could be. And at one point, the paranormal becomes normal. Maybe it's just we don't know what's going on yet, and we haven't come up with that's why that's happening. Could be something.
So back to your book.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that the topic really pertains to my life this week is very interesting. I love the cover. How did you create this cover?
I am traditionally published, so I didn't have the cover made myself. My publisher did it, and it was done by filling out an art sheet of what I wanted, and specifically, you don't even notice it at first, but the girl has this flash of light behind her. That's actually wings made of mist.
Oh, okay.
And you don't realize till you look a second time. So I just filled out an art sheet. These are what my characters are like. This is what I want to see. She's got green eyes that show she's not quite human.
Right.
The lead character, Enrique, he's also possessed, but he doesn't have physical signs for it.
Okay.
And they came back with this, and I said, yeah, that's great. That looks like them for me.
Wow, that's really cool.
Went ahead with that.
Are you going to do an audiobook?
Right now I'm discussing it with my agent. I actually recorded one myself I wasn't terribly happy with, but 2 weeks ago I signed a deal for the 2nd book in the series, so that'll be coming out early next year. That's already been written. And after that there's going to be at least a 3rd, and I'm probably going to keep going with more.
I definitely want to read it. I hope you have audiobook because my hands are busy and that's why I like to listen to things.
I'm hoping.
Now, I attempted to record an audiobook for somebody else. It's a huge undertaking. We did a few pages, long story on that one. This person would have thanked their lucky stars for me to do their audiobook, but he doesn't deserve it, so I didn't do it. But what did you learn by trying to do an audiobook, and you said it wasn't great? Like,
I learned that I have a Long Island accent I cannot get rid of.
But maybe that's a good thing.
And it might be, and the book takes place in New York somewhere, so it's kind of passable.
Sure.
But as I went through it, I was a theater major, and I criticized myself way too much over the pronunciation of certain words, and ooh, that guy's voice isn't quite what I expected it to be. You know, I was actually doing voices for characters.
You did all of it.
Yeah, and in the end, I wasn't 100% happy with it. And I said, you know what, let me listen to it and go over errors.
Yeah.
And the errors I wanted to correct came to, I'm going to just have to record the whole thing again.
Oh no.
And you know, that was, to record 14 hours or whatever it was is twice as long in the studio with retakes.
Now, here's a learning point. Did you get to 14 hours and then you really looked at it critically, or did you like do a few pages and maybe
I did the whole thing.
So here's where you learn.
I did the whole thing.
You just do a half a page, or even like a page, a half a page or a page at a time, even a paragraph. Stop it, then do another. Stop it, and then you can look at it.
Yeah, you can, but I didn't.
So he did 14 hours.
I did the whole book. I read the whole book out loud, and then went back.
Oh, God.
And when I started to list errors, I'm like, all right, we got to do paragraph 3, paragraph 7, paragraph 9. Well, at that point, just do them all, because it's going to be faster than punching in each one sentence you missed a word.
Well, you know what? I'm a big fan. It will end on this kind of, but I'm a big fan of things that go wrong. I love bad comedy. I like bad comedy better than good comedy. If someone says it's a good comedian, usually I'm bored. If they say it's bad, I'm usually interested. I'm entertained. I like things that have gone wrong. I think it's interesting. So I would love to hear your audiobook. If I could get like a secret little like download, maybe I could hear the bad version. Or maybe he can release it as a teaching way. Maybe you can do it as a fundraiser. I don't know.
Well, right now my agent's looking at some other audio company, so I don't know. I'll have to look, but maybe privately, maybe on the side. We'll see.
I never like to waste anything, so maybe you could say, hey, this isn't really what I wanted.
The original.
And you can have people donate to listen to it. I don't know.
Sure, maybe. Patreon.
I don't know. I'm his unofficial PR now. So, all right, I've spent 9 minutes of your time on this interview. Any final thoughts for society?
Treat people better.
treat people better. Well, what
That's
if
it.
you're already treating people well?
You can still do better than
I
well.
can still do better?
Even better than well.
Oh my God! Now I have to try even harder. You hear this? Jesus, I'm gonna dissolve. I can't try any harder. All right. Thank you very much for the interview. And where can listeners find you?
You can find me at my website is pauladestefano.com. If you're interested in what I do for games, it's Tainted Dragon Inn, tainted with a T. If you want to find the book, you go on Amazon, look up Riftsiders, and that's the start of the series. So you'll find at least this one when you go looking.
Super cool. Super inspiring. Very interested. And now back to more Cape for the Radio. See you later.